Modify as you need to. Don't risk exacerbating an injury because of a yoga exercise. If you have any pre-existing medical conditions and you're not quite sure if this would be good for you, please consult with your primary healthcare practitioner and make sure it's the right thing for you. Also, make yourself relatively comfortable. You can use a cushion, and in fact, we encourage you in our seated positions, meditation practices, to use a cushion. It helps lift the heart up, keep the spine straight, and it's more ideal for the flow of energy in the body and for the meditation experience. You can even be sitting in a chair with feet flat on the floor for those of you that are unable to sit in a meditative sitting posture on the floor. Just use a chair, and for many of the exercises, that will work perfectly fine. And then lastly, if you're having any problems with the video streaming, try refreshing the page, or if you see a gear icon on the video, adjust your resolution. If you're new to this type of thing, just take care of yourself. If there's something that you don't quite understand, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Everything that needs to click will click after a few times of trying it out. Enjoy the experience. We're about to get started in just a moment. Greetings, happy full moon. Thank you so much for being here. There's nothing quite like a mantra, and there's nothing like sound in order to really vibrate our mind field in such a way that finally our totally annoying thought streams can like chill. Or maybe they're not annoying, maybe they're just anxious, you know, and for good reason. There's so many reasons to feel anxious. So many reasonable reasons to feel anxious, you know. There's life in this world is always changing, always unstable. There's no time in life, there's no period of history where everything was stable. It's always unstable. In certain times, of course, it certainly does seem like it crescendos. The instability's crescendo, and then our nerves are even more fragile, and we feel the reality of instability in a more pronounced way. It's not that like things were always stable and then all of a sudden they've become unstable. They're always relatively unstable, you know. But then also what we can learn to find when we are real about that we can find a relative stability inside ourselves, that no matter how bad things are getting in the world, we're gonna be good. We'll know that, and we can cultivate that, but that takes the transformation of our mind's patterns, and there's nothing like a mantra for that. To actually transform the mind in such a way that I know that I'm good, even though things might be like horrible. And so that inner stability is essential in a human's life in order to feel happy, in order to maintain happiness, in order to maintain our sense of connection to our sense of purpose in the world. And so often I feel like we have a hard time turning towards the suffering in life because we feel like we'll lose all our joy. But when in fact, it's so important in life to always keep track of joy. And to know that joy doesn't come from things just all of a sudden going well, But joy comes from something deeper. Our joy comes from a deeper reservoir than what's happening on the surface of our life. Even catastrophe and disasters is still, at a certain relative context, the surface of our life, even though they're impacting very deep parts of us, our feeling of survival, and the desire to survive, and sending us though then into that fight or flight mode where we feel like everything's falling apart. And that's a very real human emotion, to feel like everything is falling apart. And we're not denying the emotion. We're just not going to buy into its stories, and because ultimately it's not true. Everything is not falling apart. We've been here for a long, long time. We've had our grandmothers and her grandmother and her grandmother and her grandmother and her grandmother, a whole lineage of grandmothers, a whole lineage of grandfathers, and all of our families, and they've all made it, and we're here, and we will continue to thrive, actually. Not just survive, we'll continue to thrive. Our lives will continue to get deeper and more loving and more meaningful. And in that, we're able to actually be willing to turn towards the suffering in life. We're not scared of it because we know we're not going to lose our joy. In fact, we need our joy in order to serve in that way, in order to be present in that way in life. And sometimes we're going to need some help ourselves. We're going to need somebody to give us a hug. But also, we're going to be the hugger. It's always going in both directions. We're all here together. And so what we're going to do today is make sure that we have good vitality in our body. And then we're going to do this extraordinary mantra meditation to not just have this as kind of theoretical possibilities, but turning it into a living reality for ourselves today. And there's nothing, anxiety is powerful energy. Anxiousness and worry is powerful energy, but when it's allowed to just exist in its worrisome form, air element in its worrisome form, and it's what they call vata, it's more non-rhythmic form, it creates worry, creates overwhelm, creates fears. And then if you allow those feelings and emotions to perpetuate narratives. There's nothing wrong with the feelings or emotions, but to allow those feelings and emotions to perpetuate narratives that then hold the worrying mind in place and strengthen the worrying mind and strengthen the overwhelmed mind, then it's going to continue to be that way, and we'll continue to feel like things are falling apart. When, on the other hand, if I can allow those emotions to arise and not be scared of them, but to feel them, little by little, baby steps, because these emotions do feel scary. But little by little, when they're strong, they feel scary. When a hurricane is coming, they feel scary. So it's not denying the fear. It's not the only way that I could ever have greater fearlessness is to be able to more fully experience the fear that I'm having, and to allow it to be felt inside of me little by little as I can. I only can so much as the mind will allow me to, as the mind can relax into things, as the mind can relax into the body, into its body, because the body is not separate from the mind. The body is the mind. So we're going into a feeling experience. And then when we allow that feeling of fears and worries and anxiousness to be able to arise, and at the same time, we're not allowing our mind to indulge into the narratives, the stories that it provokes. That's a different experience. How do we do that? We use a mantra. As soon as the stories arise, the mantra is there. But we're not just waiting for the stories to arrive to meet it with the mantra. Stories are coming. We're going to get the mantra going. So for instance, in the practice, Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam, they call it Panch Shabad. These mantras are the great sounds of power. If you could see them, they'd be like perfect geometrical, beautiful crystalline forms. They're called yantras. Antra is the vibration. Mantra is the sound that it makes. Yeah? In the context of the mind, before even something becomes a thought, there's a vibration there, a more subtle vibration they call antra. And then the thought is the sound that it makes. So even thought is sound. And so the thought is the mantra. So you're always chanting a mantra already. Question is, what is it? It's going to be the mantras that perpetuate everything is falling apart. It's going to be the mantras that perpetuate my insecurities. Is it going to be the mantras that perpetuate my kind of dull moods? Or will I might do something about it? And I can. I totally can. All of us can. We just have to really want to. You have to really want to do it, because it's not going to be easy, but it's not also that hard. What it is, the hardest part is it takes persistence and consistency. Because guess what's also persistent? My anxiousness tendencies. My tendency to worry and to think negatively about things that don't need my negative mind. My negative mind is there for discernment. Yeah? That's what it's there for. Positive mind is there for, like, expansion, opportunity. But my negative mind is always finding negative things where negative things are not actually always there. They're just stories that I've learned to kind of operate within, ways of perceiving. And so, how to change those perpetual wheels, because my anxiousness is persistent. My melancholy is persistent. You can be persistent with something else, and that moves it in the opposite direction. And that's why yogis use the mantras, and why the mantras are considered the supreme tool of a yogi. Because earth, water, fire, air, space. Earth, like body structure. Water is like the fluids of the body, and also the emotions. Fire is your ability to see, the warmth of the body, the heat, the digestive enzymes and acids, the blood flowing through the veins, bringing warmth through all the tissue layers. Yeah, air is like the breath and the motion of the mind. But ether, space, like they say, akasha, is sound. And so when you're working at the level of sound, when you're working with a mantra, you're working with the thought at the level of the thought's nature. So it's very profound. However, it helps first to move the body, to get the breath in motion, to put everything back into a little bit of a rhythm. Feel good here, get the vitality in here, and then all the while we're slowly but surely working at the subtle level of the actual thought stream. And it's fantastic. It's very powerful. It's very wonderful. So my request, my wish, my hope, my desire is that for the rest of our journey here together, we move our bodies a little. We're going to breathe a little. But what we're going to be supremely concerned with is to use a mantra. We're going to use a mantra. Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat. Try this. Hands on your ankles. And it's going to be nice and smooth and easy. So I'm just kind of lifting up through the chest. And it has a nice direct breath. And the breath is chanting. Nam, Sat, Nam, Sat, Nam, Sat. A little deeper the breathing, please. Now deep inhale. And lift up through the rectum, sex organ, navel, up and in. Soften the chest, soften the mind. And then exhale. Yeah? Come with your hands like this. It's just kind of opening the central channel. Preliminary exercises for this practice we're going to do today. You're going to inhale left, exhale right. Just let it swing nice and easy. Sat, Nam, Sat, Sat is the Panchabha Satanama that vibrates the earth, water, fire, air, space. It's a whole science, a whole art. It's wonderful, sophisticated, yet it's also very simple. It's simple in its application. It really doesn't take a lot, but it does take the willingness to not allow the mind to do just whatever it pleases while inside the practice. That in the domain of the practice, in the time that we're going on this little bit of an adventure together, we're saying, oh my mind, focus on the breath. And even more advantageous, if possible, put the breath with the mantra, Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam. Imagine the breath is chanting the mantra. And as the mind begins its stories, you allow them actually. But as we're allowing, but we're not indulging. There's two different things. Allow the stories to arise, welcome them, and then overpower them with the mantra. Meaning, make the mantra more central to the mind's attention. Make the sound of the breath and the depth of the breath start to meet the strength of whatever the opposing emotion might be. Opposing emotion, if it's an uncomfortable emotion, or even an extra excited emotion. In both cases, there comes the mantra. Into the center, inhale. Suspend the breath, lift through the root lock, rectum, sex organ, navel, soften the chest, shoulder blades release, soften the mind. Exhale. Yeah, you may feel right now it's impossible to soften the mind. Maybe it feels quite easy, natural. Please don't feel any of this as if it's your first time ever trying it. It takes a couple times to start to get the feel for it. So please don't be frustrated if something's hard. Don't worry, it's not going to be important for today. Hands are on your knees. And it's going to inhale up, exhale, release like this. Yeah, there it goes. Just inhaling up, exhale, release. Just listen to the breath. All the difficult emotions have another expression of that same element that is creative, that is helpful, and that is equally powerful as the power as it feels as an unpleasant emotion. Mantras are like transformation agents. Sonic transformational agents. That if you meet the negative emotion, the difficult emotion with the mantra, and you do it enough and you stay persistent enough, eventually it will give way. And then what ends up happening, it opens up. Inhale, squeeze up. Squeeze out the tension. Exhale, release. Yeah. The space opens up and we start to feel our inner sense of bliss. When you start to use a mantra, you start to realize how the mind is really diluting so much of our energy due to old, unuseful habits running under the surface. We already know they're not useful. We don't need anyone to tell us that. But sometimes it's helpful to have our attention directed in that way so that we can transform them. Hands on your knees, and it's just like this. It's like stirring the bowl of your pelvis with the spoon of your spine. And then the other direction. Inhale, center. And exhale. Good, and stretch open the legs like a V shape. Flex the feet, be right up on your sit bones. Inhale to the center. And then exhale, fold down. And then inhale up, exhale, other side, fold down. And inhale, center. And exhale, down, center. Then lift up, inhale, Sat. And exhale, Nam. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhaling, lift. Exhaling, fold. Sat. Nam. 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 Sat. Sat. Nam. Sat. Nam. Sat. Feet are flexed, groin is relaxed. Nam. Sat. 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 Nam. And inhale up. And exhale, full. And go shake the legs out and come sitting. Take your index fingers to thumb like this. Make your mouth into an O shape. And it's an O shape mouth, deep, long inhale through the O shape mouth. Like, and then through the nose comes the exhale. Index finger seals to the thumbs. Palms are facing forward. Chest is softened. Body is sitting nice and tall, directly on your sit bones. Eyes soften down. O-shaped mouth like you're drinking the breath. And through the nose, exhale. Nam. So when the inhale comes in, Sat. As the exhale goes out, imagine the breath is chanting that mantra. In the privacy of your own mind, listen to the breath deeply and imagine the breath is chanting that mantra, long, soft, the air element, the air tattva. Normally the air element, which governs thought, is going all this way and that way. After all, the air element is by definition motion, mobility, movement. So the mind is always in motion and is moving, and it's circulating thoughts, feelings, emotions, stories, ideas. To develop an inner stability, one must harness the movement of that mind and start to encourage it into a more useful direction. To no longer allow our minds to always run the show. And for that purpose, we employ the power of the mantra that purifies the density of the psyche and all of its suffering patterns, and opens us up into our clear intelligence, our intuitive mind, where we can feel the purposefulness inside even the mundane activities of our life. And we can live the life that is before us with confidence and with courage. One minute more, listening deeply to the breathing. And now, holding the posture, exhale through your nose. Then inhale through the nose. And we're going to stretch the tongue out, and the breath is like so. With every exhale, there's a lift of the diaphragm. Tongue is stretched out. 30 seconds. Every exhale is a powerful lift of the diaphragm. Stimulates immune intelligence, immune vitality, purifies the bloodstream, purifies the mind. Opens up the lungs and the rib cage. Through the nose, inhale. And press the underside of your tongue against the roof of your mouth and squeeze deeply the spine. Squeeze the spine through your nose, exhale. Inhale. Squeeze deeply the spine, under tongue, roof of the mouth. Hold the posture through your nose, exhale. Inhale. Squeeze deeply the spine, under tongue, roof of the mouth. Exhale. Relax. Fantastic. Yeah, very powerful practice we're doing today. 2 more meditations back to back. And I think you'll enjoy it. Have some water. If you need to release your knees, stretch out your legs. If you're unable to sit on the ground like us, you can sit on a chair, totally feet flat on the floor. I'm with some beautiful friends here today that do this stuff like pretty much every day for many years. So please don't hold yourself in like, oh, I need to be like that. Just do it in a way that your body can do it. You can be sitting on a chair, feet flat on the floor. You can really prop yourself up with a cushion. Do whatever you need to do to just make your body relatively comfortable in a way that you can still sit up nice and tall. Yeah, hold ourselves up high because we want one vertical relationship with gravity, because this is all about chi, life force, and able to get the stagnated energy down below the diaphragm to circulate a little bit. Opens up into the heart. This down below the diaphragm, that's the domain of me. I need that. Very powerful, very strong. My desires, my ambitions, my wishes, my feeling of, do I feel safe or not? It's below the diaphragm, Muladhara chakra, Swadhisthana chakra, Manipura chakra. Then it's above the diaphragm that I meet the heart, where it goes from the domain of me to the domain of we. Domain of me is very important. I need to take care of me. I need to make sure I have enough vitality to live. I need to take care of my mind so I can be helpful, so that I can be more concerned with we. Because if I stay in the domain of being only concerned with me, I'm going to continue to suffer. I am. It's only when my concern for your well-being is similar to my concern for my own well-being does the heart start to turn inside out, and do I get deeper into the stream of my purpose in life. And each of us are designed uniquely. We all have different intelligences, different ways of being, different ways of thinking, and all of us are beautiful and all of us are necessary. Otherwise we wouldn't all be here. So you are unique, I am unique. Together, all together, we make something really sublime, something that's beyond comprehension what this all is. But we all can feel it. We all feel it. It's called love. We all feel that. We all know that. We know what is true, and we know love is true. Everything else is complicated. Love is true. Love is real. Love is simple. Love is kind. Love is beautiful. Love is caring. Love is compassionate. Love is sometimes romantic, but not all the time. She takes so many emanations, love. When she encounters suffering, she takes the form of compassion. When she encounters purpose, she takes the form of joy. Yeah? Love is the best thing, the supreme thing. So what this Kriya does is it starts to purify the density of the subconscious patterns of the mind. The negative patterns are the patterns. Negative here is being defined as the patterns that cause us more miseries, cause us to stay in kind of our more lousy thinking in ways that we know are causing us more insecurity and more. And yet sometimes they're so strong, these patterns, there's nothing we can do about it. So then we end up feeling lousy about ourselves. But these are just thoughts. They can be transformed. They don't represent the real us. So when you transform them, you can get the real us to come forth, the real me within the me. That comes forth. Then I have real genuine inner confidence. It's not based on status, not based on money. It's not even based on things going so well. It's based on an inner knowingness. It's based on an inner feeling, an inner energy. It's about love coming out. It's about feeling connected to purpose. So once again, your hands will be like this. Your shoulder blades are back like this. And you're going to be listening to the breath. It's a 2-stroke inhale through the O-shaped mouth. Then it's a 1-stroke exhale through the nose, like. And with every exhale, do it with me. With every exhale, lift the diaphragm. to exhale through the nose. Navel comes in, diaphragm lifts up. Job in the meditation is to try to hold the posture totally still and steady, and try to focus on listening only to the breath. A 2-stroke inhalation through the rounded puckered lips, and a 1-stroke exhalation through the nose, lifting the diaphragm. It's called the Trinity breath. But a little more, please. I would like a little strength to come through with this breath, a little less passive, a little more engaged. Yep, penetrate with the breath. It's only about 5 more minutes. That may sound like an eternity to you, or maybe it sounds very short. In either case, it's follow the breath. Fears of the future, heaviness of the past, bring the mind into the present by dwelling only on the breath, listening to its sound, following its rhythm. And when the mind keeps jumping and swirling, allow that. Feel how that feels in the body when the mind is jumping and swirling. And then draw its attention again and again to the breath and its rhythm. Every exhale, lift the diaphragm. Be in your body, my mind. Feel, breathe, rhythm, go. things that are going wrong or might go wrong. We're not denying this. We're just not indulging this at the moment. Back into the breath, back into the rhythm, listening, feeling the bliss of what it's like to become present. There's a storm, sit in the eye of the storm. If it's a beautiful sunshine, sit in the rays of those sunshine and enjoy that warmth, knowing that it too will pass and storms will come again. If there is a storm, know that too it shall pass and sunshine will come again, and life forever continues in such a way. Final minute, dwell on the breath. Every exhale, lift the navel, please. Press your hands into a prayer mudra, center of the chest. It's called prayer pose, but press the hands very powerfully and squeeze the muscles of your spine. And like a cannon through the O-shaped mouth, exhale. Through the mouth, inhale. And press the palms with full strength. Lift through the pelvic floor, squeeze through the spine, draw in the navel. Press that palms powerfully. Like a cannon, exhale. Namas. Press the palms powerfully. Lift through the pelvic floor, squeeze through the spine. Exhale. Yes. And just relax. Keep the eyes softened down. Have the heart, also the chest, be softened. Let the breath flow naturally. Listening. And Om Mani Mani, follow your bliss. Yeah, and stretch up. Come on. Inhale, stretch up and shake your arms out a little. Come on, stay in your body, shake and keep the energy distributed through by shaking a little bit, or just distributing the energy, feeling good, relaxing. Good job. Bravo, bravo. Joseph Campbell was the great teacher. I don't know what he called himself, but he was certainly a great teacher. The first time I ever heard the word Kundalini was through Joseph Campbell, and in that those great interviews that he did towards the end of his life with Bill Moyers. You can find those. It's called The Power of Myth. Highly, highly recommend. It's like a 6-part series. Fantastic. And so that was the first time as a, I think, 17, 18-year-old, I heard the word Kundalini. Checked those out of the university library I was at, and was watching those. I was like, wow. And he coined the phrase that follow your bliss, and sometimes now you see it as a bumper sticker. But what I read is that towards the end of his life, he said, wouldn't it have even been wiser if I would have said, follow your blisters. Because in our ordinary state, we don't really have often good perspective of what our bliss is when our minds are just all over the place, you know. And in fact, what we're doing is often chasing pleasure. The mind is chasing pleasure, and it's pushing away pain. And it's that, and that, even that is the mind's pursuit of happiness. It shows the innate desire of the human being to want to achieve happiness. If you give the little baby sweet, they'll take it. If you give the little baby bitter, they'll push it away. You know, we're all wired in that basic way. And then what we've learned, and all the great sages of all the parts of the world, really, is that when you allow the mind to pursue pleasure in its ordinary state, you end up with bitter results. And so, to find the real sweetness, one must dive deeper. One must go under the surface and find an inner bliss that is there, a bliss that is something else, a bliss that is connected to one's sense of purpose, which is why he said, follow your bliss. But often it is when you connect with your bliss, when you connect with your inner sense of what you are and what your life is all about, which is the most natural thing. But it won't necessarily happen on its own. Sometimes it does through extraordinary events in life, sometimes through great tragedy, you know. But how it absolutely can happen for anyone who wishes to stay connected to their bliss, to stay connected into the real sweetness of life, one must transform the mind's tendencies. And there it is. It's always there, ever present. And so nothing better than that than vibrating mantras, vibrating sounds. Sound works more effectively for transforming the mind than anything else, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to vibrate sound. Ra is the sound of the sun. Ma is the sound of the moon. It's this Ra, sun, Ma, moon, Da, earth, Sa, infinity. And then Sa, Se, So, Hung, Ra, Ma, Da. These are seed sounds. Ra, Ma, Da, Sa. We want to enunciate. We want to vibrate. We're not singing. We're not talking. We're vibrating. Ra, Ma, Da, Sa, Sa, Se, So, Hung. And when we say Hung, H-U-N-G, the navel lift draws in. Hung, Hung, Kundalini energy. So a centralization of the chi in the nervous system. It's the vibration of the sound. As any thoughts arise, you allow them to arise, but you just meet them with the mantra. And the meditations often cause the mind to be a little more active at first, but if you just be persistent with it, not fight against it as much as possible, but allow thoughts, allow feelings, allow emotions, but then meditate on the mantra. Listen. How do you meditate on the mantra? By listening, by feeling how the mantra vibrates your body, by listening to the sound of it, by vibrating the sound of it, by putting your heart into it, by communicating through it. All of us have the wishes of our hearts. You can call them prayers, you can call them wishes, whatever it is. But all of us have that. All of us feel despair in the difficulties of our world, and we feel helpless because we feel like we want to be able to do something and then we just can't. And then that energy is just swirling around in our nervous systems and we become a mess, you know? It's natural. We don't have to be a mess. We can take that beautiful mess of ours and we can vibrate and it turns into this great power. And so you can take a person in your life you would love to send a healing energy to, because this is the great healing mantra of Kundalini Yoga. Ra, Ma, Da, Sa, Sa, Se, So, Hung. And we're going to chant it for 11 minutes. 11 minutes, no more, no less. And in that 11-minute time, the devotion is to the sound, vibrating the sound. But you can, in this moment, in your own mind and heart, think of someone you love so much, or some part of the world that you love so much that is really suffering right now. And you can devote this meditation to them. At the very least, it's a way of taking that expression of your heart and giving it expression, taking that energy of our love and giving it expression, putting it into the mantra, putting it into the sound current. And very much so, just like we download via input, sensory input, we upload, we make, where does that vibration go? You know, nothing is basic thermodynamics. Nothing is created, nothing is destroyed. So I put a vibration out into the field of time and space. Those ripples are traveling. And I'll direct them where they're going to travel is going to be dependent on my sense of motivation and my sense of intent. So I'm turning my heart inside out, thinking of somebody I love, or thinking of a people I love, or thinking of something that I want to send a healing force to. And with my heart and with my genuine energy, I'm going to chant the mantra. Ra, Ma, Da, Sa, Sa, Se, So, Hung. So we're going to take the white hole mudra, is what it's called, index finger touching, thumb tips touching. And the other three fingers are curled in like a guardian's. This is great ancient practices of the yogis. And it's almost like you're holding this mudra and you're chanting through it, like it's some sort of like a subtle cosmic like megaphone, amplifying the ideas, the feeling of amplifying the thoughts, but also the shape of it. And the height of holding the arms up in this position is going to cause the chi in the nervous system and in the subtle channels to kind of animate and open up through the chakras, opening the mind into its inner bliss space, developing the inner stability. We're going to vibrate the mantra very beautifully. Just listen. There's no such thing as a bad voice. Just vibrate. Ra. So soften down. Sa, se, su, hum. Try to bring the sound from your navel. Rama, and vibrate the body. Da, sa, sa, se, su, hum. Enunciate, lips, tip of your tongue. And vibrate your body like a resonation chamber. 2 minutes. Inhale. Then in the posture, we're going to begin a rhythmic breath through the nose. Just focus on the exhale. Then make the exhale and inhale equal. Seconds. Deeply. Eyes are closed. And send your healing energy to that person, to that space. Hold the posture, exhale, and inhale deeply. And seeing it like a brilliant light, a luminosity. See them showered in like a vitality and a love and a healing and a happiness. Even in a deep bliss of feeling safe and knowing they're taken care of. And hold the posture through the nose, exhale. And one final time again. And exhale, relax the posture. take an inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. And inhale very deeply through the nose. And suspend your breath in. Make the mind soft and spacious, just listening. As you continue listening, exhale through the nose and inhale deeply. Suspend the breath in, soften the chest, soften the mind, listening. And exhale. And inhale and relax. So really the secret of mantra practice is to learn the art of listening. What they call Shravana or Sunya. Shravana is deeply listening. It's not just listening to what's on the surface of the mind, but more so it's listening when we can hear kind of deeper down. We can even, through these yogic practices and these meditations, we can learn to listen into the voice of the heart. We can listen to the intuitive mind. And the mantra becomes the primary ally in that endeavor, is that you can listen and that there's a bliss. And the reason why people love mantras is because they bring blissfulness. They bring us into our sense of what our true nature is. By purifying the obstructions of the mind, when that is done, then all that is left is our true nature, and our essential energy emerges to us, through us, to us. So others might experience a radiance from us after we first experience a radiance within ourselves, and that's the glory of Kundalini Yoga, and that's the glory of the mantra. So in this mantra training that we're doing in the Life Force Academy, the first step that we take in that is that you take on a personal mantra for yourself that you will choose for yourself. Some people may already have a mantra that they use for themselves, but many of us know. And so the first step in that is we'll take a personal mantra for ourselves, and that it would be a mantra that we decide upon for ourselves. Maybe it comes from the tradition that we are brought up in. Maybe it's some other tradition that we have deep resonance with. Maybe it's something that is, you'll find out. But what it needs to be is a sonic kind of expression or representation, a sound representation, a mantra representation of what you consider the greatest reality. Even though we know that the supreme reality is inconceivable what it actually is. That's why it fills us with wonder and joy, and it's even beyond what we can even comprehend. But the mantra travels you into that space of wonder, of like a divine wonder, a divine wow. And so you take on a mantra for oneself, and then you utilize it, not just during the meditation practice, but as part of a daily lifestyle. Now, this would only happen if I really wanted to make my mind happy. And it's not some superficial happy that's denying the pains of the world, and quite the opposite. In most cases, what it's going to cause us to do is turn towards the pains of the world, but do so in a way that it brings healing, that opens us up into greater love, that opens us up into greater sense of purpose. But it also will allow us to turn towards the pleasures of the world and to enjoy the pleasures of life and not feel guilty about it, not feel guilty about our sexuality and guilty about all the feminine aspects of life. To feel, to have pleasure, to enjoy, to be soft, to be slow, to be mindful, to be present. Yeah. So then both, you use the mantra as like a force of a thunderbolt. It's penetrative. It purifies through the density of life, purifies our negative emotions as they arrive, and they continue to circle, and they continue to cause us our inner miserableness, that miserableness that even nobody else knows about outside of us, because we're good enough at hiding it, we're good enough at keeping it, safe, keeping it. We kind of couldn't put on our good, like, happy thing, and that's I'm not downplaying this. I'm saying this is how we are. This is what we must. We got to keep it okay and keep it all together. But eventually that doesn't work anymore. And so we bring forth this kind of force of authenticity that's kind of rooted in an inner confidence. It's rooted in an inner love of oneself, and that's because we've experienced it. And that's where the Kundalini Yoga Kriyas come in, these tremendous practices that we do in this training that tap us into our source of electricity, our source of energy, and tap us into a different type of vitality that you could never get from just taking a good foods or herbs, or ordinary exercise. But the vitality of tapping into one's true nature. And you will follow your bliss in that case, and your bliss will often give you blisters, because Dharma, purpose, will often having us do work that is not easy, but we must, and we will be happy to do it, and we'll have courage to do it, because Dharma gives courage, purpose gives courage. It's not that we don't lack courage. Once you get in the sense of what your life is about, you'll have the courage to do it. You will, definitely. And you'll have the prosperity to live with it too, because purpose brings prosperity. And to tap into one's inner energy in that way gives one the sense of purpose, puts them in the river flow of their purpose. And that does bring forth prosperity. So people will discover that all the time, that when they actually do it consistently. But that's the thing. Even one session like this, you can get some real magic out of it, but the real magic of it is when it's done with a relative consistency over a sustained period of time. So that's why in this training, it's a 7-week training, but it's just a couple hours a week where you're actively taking the training, and then the rest of the week you're putting into practice what you learned in daily life, doing this meditation every day. That is going to ask you to each day do this chanting meditation for 22 minutes so you can get that sound current flowing for you, so you can crack through old, deep kind of subconscious patterns. They're ready to go, but we have to do something. And so it's actually, I think you'll find, it's totally doable. Even for the very busy person. If we're super busy, then we really could use something like this. And then you'll get to experience really why the mantras are the greatest thing, because it is the mind that has to deal with every other part of our life. So every domain of our life, our sense of who we are, our sense of others and our love relationships, our work, career life, our home life, etc., etc. All of that is being influenced by this central thing. And so if you can get this thing right, all the other domains of the life benefit. I think that's why they consider it the supreme tool. The supreme thing is that's a repetition of the mantra japa. And so therefore, when you take on a personal mantra for yourself, you got something new, something incredible, something that when really excited, it's right there to kind of like, relax that a little bit. People don't like that part at first. They think, oh no, why wouldn't I want to be excited? Because excitement leads to attachment. And to the extent that I emotionally attach on the things that I'm excited about is to the extent I will eventually dip down into an equal and opposite gap of deficiency or of depression or anxiety, something like this. And so it's the physics. It's not that we're going to have plenty of excitement. We're going to have plenty of pleasures. And the thing is that when I'm less grasping onto the pleasures of life, then I actually can enjoy them, because I'm not putting I'm not putting unrealistic expectations on what these pleasures can do for me. They're temporary. They're coming and they're going. And the pleasure's gone, then I'm unhappy again. And so it puts us into this different swing, this different rhythm of life where I'm able to embrace both the difficulties and the pleasures of life in a similar fashion. And the mantra does that. And people feel like, that would be so boring. It's the opposite of boring, entering into bliss nature in life. And so your intuitive psyche is so sharp and you're connected to wisdom is boring? No way. It's the best thing. It's orgasmic at times. And so there is a reservoir where we can always tap into, and it's well worth tapping into. And that's what that mantra practice is all about. So I want to invite you all, anyone I know some of you are already done it, not done it, but have already joined in and have started taking this course. The course has just started. And you can do it, though, on your own time. You can do it any pace that you wish, although it's designed to be taken one module a week over a 7-week period. You can read all the names of the modules here. The opening is discovering your personal mantra. And it goes in from there, practicing all the different things. Read about the modules. Read about what's in there. It's all we've set it up here for you so you can see everything that it is. And if you have any questions, we have an awesome team. You just shoot us an email. We can help you out. You don't have to be technologically savvy or anything like this. It's super easy, super user-friendly. You can download the modules so you don't have to rely on your internet connection, take them traveling with you, whatever. You have lifetime access. If you get the course and for any reason decide it's not for you, after all, you just let us know within 60 days. Our team sends you a full refund. So we guarantee our trainings, our courses like that. And so it's amazing. It's on sale right now. If you get in now, it's a really good deal. Regular price is $695. Sale price right now is $395. So that's, $300 off? Is that right? Yeah, $300 off. So it's a really good deal for the special right now. But the course registration's about to close, and the group that's in it for now is going to be the group in it until we launch it again one day. Okay, so there's also a payment plan if that makes it easier for you. And so those of you who want to join, I hope you will and can. And if you can't, and that's maybe just not even in with your wherewithal right now, then make sure to check out our Life Force Academy membership portal. And we're doing practices like this every week. There's libraries of classes for you. There's live classes each week. There's so many great practices in the Life Force Academy membership portal. It's just $1 to try that. But if you can, I'm telling you, this mantra course is amazing and is life-changing in a best way. I think you'll be like, I can't believe how good this makes me feel once I get into it and once I keep up with it. That was my experience going through it myself. So I just want to invite you to take that leap if you're feeling inspired to do so. Okay, well, let's seal our session together. Bravo. Nice job, everybody. We did a great job. My intent was to finish by the time she's chanted those satnams at the end. I did a good job, I think. Pretty good. I missed the first one, got the rest of them. And thank you all so much for being here today and spending the time, the full moon time with us. It's a full moon in Ashwini Nakshatra, which has the first part of Aries, which has the Shakti to get places quickly so we can get ourselves from any state of really difficulty into something that feels better more quickly. We can. And thanks, everyone. Lots of love to you and your families and everyone out there. Satnam.